Do you know who this is? Don't worry about it. I'll tell you. This is Larry Fink, owner and founder of BlackRock. Yes, BlackRock. Oh, you don't know who BlackRock is? All right.
BlackRock is a financial giant. It's the largest investor on planet Earth with over $9 trillion in assets. That's a pile of cash equal to about 1/10 of a year's global economic activity. That means the money managers at BlackRock have a big say in how the world runs. In the US, it owns at least 5% of most major companies. That gives the firm lots of voting power to determine how public businesses operate.
Take time out of your day, go Google BlackRock to see what all they own and what all they have their hands into. Do you know what he said in an interview recently? He was concerned about inflation and deficits and had this to say in an interview. This is my message, not just to the US, but to every country right now. We have rising deficits. No one is spending enough time talking about the deficits. The US deficits are the largest in the world, growing at the fastest rate in the world. And we need to be finding ways to minimize the role of the deficit on the economy, on interest rates, on inflation. Okay, so we got the problem. What is his solution? We need to grow. And if we can't grow out of it, these deficits are going to become a big burden. We're going to really be putting on the backs of our children and our grandchildren a real burden of these massive spends that we can't afford. We need unfettered business right now. We need growth, and we're going to get growth from the private sector. We can't rely on public deficits anymore. The public deficits are just growing too fast as a percentage to GDP. This is unheard of. It's at an unsustainable level, yet we have the most dynamic capitalistic system in the world. We have great companies, we have great ingenuity, great technology. Let it unbound, let it go, create great jobs, create opportunity, and we'll have a rising equity market that will really fuel this opportunity. If you don't know what he's talking about, don't worry about it. I got you. What he's saying is we can't go on deficits anymore. We can't go on unpaid tax breaks for the rich anymore. We tried that in the 80s with Reagan.
The highest order of business before the nation is to restore our economic prosperity.
After taking over the presidency, Reagan worked to boost the economy. He starts cutting taxes and deregulating Wall Street, creating a perfect environment for financial innovations. One of such is the mortgage-backed securities.
Reagan got into the White House and he started deregulating. He started consolidating government, making government smaller, and giving tax breaks to the wealthy. And a lot of people in their position started to say, hey, the Reagan Revolution was great, but his own vice president called Reaganomics voodoo economics because the trickle-down thing didn't work. And let me show you why it didn't work. Those people like Larry Fink, who didn't found BlackRock yet. He was still on the stock market, but he hadn't found BlackRock yet. This is what he said that made him lose his job and found BlackRock.
When you started having those types of successes, the firm gave you more capital. We were taking bigger and bigger risks without the attended risk technology to navigate that risk. And in the second quarter of 1986, we lost $100 million.
Go back and listen to what he said, because he said he blamed it on technology. He said they had so much capital coming in, they were taking more and more risk. I mean, why wouldn't you? You're getting so much money, every bet hit. So why not double down? But because they didn't have the technology to deal with the risk, he ended up losing. He said he went on in that interview to say he made $136 million in the first quarter, but he lost $100 million in the second quarter. That was because of the risk that they took with other people's money. Black Monday hit the next year. If you don't know, Black Monday is when the stock market crashed bad, almost like 1929. And everybody was afraid that 1987 was going to be like 1929. And right now I'm at 4 minutes, so I'm going to try to wrap it up in another minute. So he's telling us we need to grow. We need to let the private sector grow. He's still talking about trickle-down economics. He's saying if you open up businesses, if you open up the private sector, let the private sector go, give them capital, let them open up and grow, we can then hire more people and innovate technology and help pay off the deficit and slow down, or if not, stop inflation. We've tried that over the last 30, 40 years. Every time a Republican gets in office, they deregulate. Go back to 2000 when Bush was in office. What did he do? He deregulate. He gave businesses the money. He tried to trickle down. And what happened in 2007? The housing market, because private equity, private industry got greedy. Trump tried to do it. He gave them $1.9 trillion and he spent another $8 trillion over his 4 years. And look at what's going on. Every time a Republican gets in office and they try to do this trickle down economics, the private sector gets greedy and they put the money in their pockets. And that's why Joe Biden keeps saying we need to grow the economy from the bottom up and the middle out, because the middle class makes this country. You cannot say that the private industry makes this country, because without the middle class, you got no private companies. It's probably why they want Trump back in office. What do you think?